Hi guys, so today's video is going to be using the Lawn Fawn Nutty or Nice. This was from September from I want to say a couple years ago, I'm not even sure. But it's super cute, and I'm going to be making a pivot pop-up card. So this funky little thing here, I'm sort of showing you how to fold it. Obviously Lawn Fawn has a great tutorial on more detail on that, but you're going to cut two of these pieces, and where the little flaps are, or the little tabs I should say, you're going to put some strong adhesive onto those little tabs, and I'll show you in a minute that we're going to actually stick that together so that it makes one long piece. Now, just a little disclaimer, I always fold this piece the wrong way around, so you'll see once we actually put it together that I have to refold it the right way. But basically you've made one long piece here, and this is where I folded the wrong way. So really your center piece needs to fold towards you and the other two in the opposite direction. It'll make more sense when we actually put the thing together. Excuse me. So really it shouldn't be like that. It should look more like a like the middle piece should be sticking up and the other two facing down, if that makes sense. So with the die you also get these two pieces that create like a hillside. I'm using them as snow for this winter card, but you could, if you got really creative, you could even use some of your other border dies to create some extra grass or waves or whatever you want on them. So I haven't tried that yet, but I was thinking about that when I was editing this, and yeah, so maybe Lawn Fawn will bring those out soon. I don't know, they're not, I don't think there's any plans, but that might be nice to have almost like an additional thing that you could add to this as well. They seem to be very creative in how they expand on what they bring out. So basically this creates your little backdrop. Now really at this point I should have added some extra bits to the background, but hindsight and all that. So on this funny little arrow thing, this is the mechanism for the pivot pop-up, and so what you're going to do is on the triangular piece on both sides you're going to stick some very strong adhesive. You could use a wet glue, but wet glue you have to be a little careful because obviously you don't want it oozing out and then sticking your card together, or anything like that. So just be aware of or sticking the mechanism together, so just be aware of wet adhesive. But I'm just burnishing it on here to make sure it really is stuck to those pieces. And what I'm going to do is start off on one side, and I will take that triangular piece and put it towards the center of the folded card. So this is going to go on the inside of the card, and you'll see in a second there's a way that you can line it up using the score line, and there's a tiny hole in the middle of the actual mechanism. So the wet or the sticky side down, and on the score line you will be able to see, I'm going to zoom in a second, you will be able to see the score line through that little hole in the middle, and that helps you line it up when you want to put this first piece on. I found this the easiest way to do it. It's that you'll find the more you use things like this, that you'll find easier ways to do this. So this is what I found was the easiest. Then that now being stuck down, I can then fold it and grab all the backings off the other adhesive, and then just fold the card over and like close the card, and that will stick the other side to the back of the card, if that made any sense. So just fold the card in half, give it a little rub, and it will then give you the mechanism that will create the pop-up. And the more you play with it, the more it will like loosen up, and the more it'll work better. So on the sides, I was just showing you there's a little score lines. So it almost creates where the score line is, creates like a little block. And so what you want to do is to the left and to the right of it, depending which on each side, you want to be able to, you want to put some strong adhesive again. And this is what's actually going to hold that long piece that we've created. It's going to actually hold it in place on the pop-up part. And this is where you'll see that I actually put it in. I folded the long section. I actually folded it wrong. So you'll see, hopefully I sort of explained that, but this will make more sense in a second. Hopefully that is. So this is where I had totally folded the wrong way. So the top and the bottom will line up with those two edges. And there's also, you can't see it on camera, but there's actually a tiny little score mark that's made on the mechanism. And that's where you can line up the center of this long strip. So this is where I say I folded it the wrong way. I know I've said it like 15 times in this video. So I just folded it the right way. It was easy enough to fold because I already had score lines there, so it worked fine. And the more, like I say, the more you play with it, the more it will loosen up, and the easier it'll be to open and fold the card. So now I can just put all my little elements on. So these are all these stamped images from the Nutty or Nice stamp set, and I stamped and cut them out with my brother's scan and cut, and then just coloured them in with some Copic markers. Very simple colouring. I don't do anything fancy anyway, but I just used some reds, some cool greys for his hat, the snowman's hat, a bit of orange for his carrot nose, of course, and some browns for the squirrels. And I just think they're so cute. They're so cute, and I love that you can create these little sceneries with all of Lawn Fawn stamps and dies. And I love that they all they're sized in such a way that you can mix and match across, you know, all of the different stamps. So it doesn't matter what season it is, you can mix and match them. So it's very cool. This is where what I should have done is, in the background, I should have really stamped some, before I stuck it on the mechanism, I should have maybe used a snowy backdrop. I'm trying to think which stamp set has that. I think it's the Not Toboggan Together. One of the earlier stamp sets actually has a snowy backdrop. I should have just dragged it out and used that, and just in some white pigment ink just stamped it in the background. It just would have given something else to the background. It kind of looks like it's half done. And when I made these in January, even though we were in July, so, when I was making them, I just didn't think, and it's only when I'm editing and I'm going, I could have added a bit more to that. So yeah, so I just thought I'd let you know. Now, I don't like hand cutting things out because physically it hurts. So, but I somewhat painstakingly kind of stamped, coloured, and then cut out this tiny little, it's like I think it's supposed to be like a little acorn that's gift wrapped, because I just thought that this little squirrel needed a little something else to hold. He just kind of looked like he wasn't really doing anything. You've got the one on the left who's running, you've got the other two that are putting the snowman together, and then you've got this little guy who's now got a acorn present that he's bringing to the party. So I just thought that was cute. So it's a small stamp, so it was quite painful for me to actually cut out, and I obviously would have, if I'd thought ahead a little bit more, I could have done that on my machine as well. So but it's fine, it turned out fine. So I've just taken some this is some Lawn Fawn Hippo ink, and there's like footprints in this stamp set, so I just decided to put those on, and I thought that just added a little bit something. So it's little things like that you can add in that I think just make, especially when you're creating scenery cards, makes it you know, just adds a little bit something else. That's why I say the background really needed the snow falling or some trees or something in the background, and I just didn't think that far ahead. So so I'm just going to stamp the sentiment now, and I'm going to use two different color inks. I just thought that was a kind of just a fun thing to do. So this first bit I'm going to stamp in the black licorice, I believe. Am I? I'm not sure. I can't remember, it's been a while since I did this. Oh yes, in the black licorice ink. And this, I love the puns, I love punny sayings, you guys know that. And this one says, hope your holidays are nutting but fun. Get it? It's so funny. Anyway, I crack myself up. And then Merry Christmas in the chili pepper ink. It's a nice red, that's a really nice red. And it matched well with the Copic markers that I used to colour the images in. So because the inside has got a lot going on, it's got the period pop-up, it's got, you know, the little scenery, it's, you know, this stuff going on in there. I thought that maybe the outside needed to be a bit more simple, so I'm just going to use a EK Success border punch, and it's a random piece of paper. I don't even know how big this strip of paper is. I know it fits across the width of the card, so it's 5.5 inches wide, and I missed a spot, of course, and I just punched it on both sides so it looks a bit like a piece of lace. That's the idea in my head. And to add to it, I'm just going to take a piece of washi tape straight across the front of it. I found some, this is old Stampin' Up! Washi tape from a few years ago that I found, and it looks like candy stripes. So I decided to just add that on there, and then I'll stick that to the front, and that's as simple as the front of the card gets, because you don't want anything that is, you know, you've got all this stuff going on the inside, you don't want too much on the outside, because there's a nice surprise on the inside of the card. And I'm going to use some white Blizzard, this is Nouveau glitter drops, and I'm just going to add that to the snowman and to the hats so that there's just a bit of sparkle on the inside. I also added it to the the footprints, couldn't think of the word, the footprints. You could add it to all the snowy areas, you could just dot it around, and it's just a clear, glittery, shimmery, it's like a glitter glue kind of thing, and it just adds so much. I could have also used it in the background and actually added some snowdrops. Just remember to make sure that you leave it to dry completely. I would leave it for probably 24 hours to be sure, because what you don't want to do is close your card up or send your card and it will glue itself shut if that's still wet. So just remember to keep you know, don't close it while it's wet, make sure it dries first. So I left this bit in because I thought, I make mistakes all the time in my cards, I make boo-boos, pens will suddenly leak or something like that, so I left this bit in, but I'm using a glaze pen just to add some detail to the snowman's eyes and his buttons. It just adds a little bit of something. It's little things like that that will make a difference to your cards, and I just think it does add something. Obviously I can't close the card because everything's wet, but when it dries it just sparkles so much more than even what it is now. Like at the moment it's wet, so it's going to look very glossy, but when it dries it's so pretty. So I hope you liked that, and Merry Christmas in July. So I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.